Alright then, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. Still on cloud 9. It's another good day. It's been a good week, hasn't it? If you're a Chelsea fan like me, this week has been great. I've almost forgotten now that we lost Eden Hazard. It's hard to forget that. We've got some more great news to talk about. So in this video today, I'm going to go through the 5 players that I think Frank Lampard is going to have the biggest impact on in terms of improving this Chelsea side. Most of them are going to be players that have come back on loan. We have somehow managed to sell Alvaro Morata back to Atletico Madrid after a loan period. Pretty much the same amount of money that we bought him for. Mind-blowing business from Chelsea. The fact that we can't reinvest that money right now is actually good because we've got all of the other excitement to be worried about without thinking who are we going to spend 60 million on for the next player, but we somehow managed to recoup that money. Morata came out on Twitter basically just saying how happy he was that it's finally all gone through and he's at Atletico without a single word of gratitude for the Chelsea fans, which I can semi-understand because the majority of Chelsea fans, I think, have given Morata a pretty hard time, myself included, but at the same time, there's also a lot of people who did support him. He did score 24 goals for our club, put on one of the best performances I've ever witnessed of a Chelsea player on an away day at Stoke. I was there that day, absolutely loved it. He was world class on that day, but unfortunately, it was once in a blue moon. Yes, there was the great header against Man United, but see you later, Alvaro. We're probably not going to miss you. It wasn't really a match made in heaven. The second news, and one of the 5 players that I'm going to talk about today in this video, Ruben Loftus-Cheek has signed a new deal at Chelsea which will see him stay at the club until 2024. And as well as that, he's also come out and said that he hopes to be there even longer. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, he's been at the club since he was 8 or 9 years old. Amazing. He is a player that I'm so excited to see. Yes, he's had a very serious injury. It's going to be quite a while before we see him back in the Chelsea side because of that injury. But Frank Lampard, the highest goal scorer midfielder in Premier League history, Chelsea's all-time leading goal scorer, our number 8, he is going to give Ruben so much confidence. Ruben Loftus-Cheek could become the 15-goal-a-season striker that Chelsea have been missing. Not striker, midfielder, that Chelsea have been missing since Frank Lampard left in 2014. That is what I think Frank Lampard is going to do for Ruben. Not only that, he's English. I just feel as though that is the number 1 thing that we can expect from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He's going to start adding goals to his game. I think Frank can see his strengths are definitely going forward, and Frank's going to bring the most out of him for that. Player number 2, and a player who played under Frank Lampard last season, we've all talked about him, Mason Mount. He's one of the 3 players who everybody is hoping to sign a new deal. We can tick off the Ruben Loftus-Cheek new deal. Mason Mount is one of them. Hudson-Odoi, of course, is the other one. But Mason Mount, of course, he played last season in what we're going to call his breakthrough season in football at Derby County. He was a very key player for them in getting them towards the playoff final. And having played under Frank before, Frank spoke so highly of him last season whilst he was Derby manager. Of course, at the time, he didn't know he was going to be coming back to Chelsea. I'm still revelling in it, to be honest. Completely revelling in it. English. Frank's going to want to see him come through, and I think he's going to have a big impact at Chelsea when he does. The third player on this list is a player who, well, I mean, I've got 5 tattoos. One of them is the bat that is on my wrist. I have to say so many times to people that I meet, particularly whilst travelling, that is actually no reference to Batman whatsoever, because people start like talking to me about Marvel films, and quite frankly, there's a kid in the garden. Quite frankly, I don't really have that much interest in Marvel films. Sorry if that breaks your heart, but Batshuayi is on my wrist. Ever since he came to Chelsea, he has been a very likeable figure for the fans. He's very engaging on social media, which is very contagious. If you're a fan of football and you follow social media, it's always nice to see a player who wants to interact on social media, who's open to having a little laugh. It's somebody that you want to see succeed. And I think now that Higuain is staying in Serie A, which I think is probably the best decision for everybody involved, Morata's been sold. Olivier Giroud, ever since he's been in the Premier League, he's not really been a 38-game starting striker for Arsenal or Chelsea, as good as Giroud has been. I don't really think I gave him as much credit as I should have done in previous videos. Michy Batshuayi could be the man to lead Chelsea's line. Now, I'm not going to sit here and make a crazy statement and say that Batshuayi is going to beat Sergio Aguero or Harry Kane to the Golden Boot next season. I don't believe that, even if I did want to tell myself that story. It would go down great for my wrist. Oh, that could have been interpreted badly. I think Batshuayi is going to be given a chance, finally, and this is his last chance. Let's get that right. If it doesn't work for Batshuayi this season, he's out the door. Please get it right, machine. Now, the fourth player that we're going to talk about today is Reece James. He was in the Team of the Year last season in the Championship, having played 45 matches for Wigan. Wigan didn't have the best season, but one thing that was consistent throughout the entire season was the performances of 19-year-old Reece James. He doesn't turn 20 until December. He's a very, very exciting player, and I think the right-back position has been a position at Chelsea since Ivanovic that we've never really filled it with someone that we can see playing in that position consistently for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Yes, we've had Azpilicueta at right-back, but I personally feel as though his best seasons at Chelsea have been when he was playing at left-back or at centre-back. Azpilicueta, as good as he's been for Chelsea, he's been one of our bargain signings of the past 10 years. He's never really locked in that right-back position. And at 19 years old, Reece James has obviously got him for age for a start. I don't expect Reece James to be our first choice right-back. I still expect Azpilicueta to be the number one right-back, and I would still put him ahead of Reece James, of course, in that position. But under Frank Lampard, if he manages to get past the first season, we can expect to see Reece James a hell of a lot more. He's a great player with huge potential, and I know that Frank can get the best out of him. I don't know that, I just think that, but... Now, the fifth player is a player that I absolutely loved filming with when I had the chance to in the PlayStation Schools Cup. Kurt Zouma, one of the nicest footballers I've ever met. I've met quite a few footballers, the majority of which have been pretty nice, but Zouma is just a very good guy. Not only that, there was a picture circulating today where what I can only describe as, how he manages to jump that high in pre-season, in training session number 1, I fear for Premier League defences this season. If Kurt Zouma's coming up for a corner, well, it's pretty much guaranteed he's going to bag 10 goals from set pieces for Chelsea this season. He might even have a long-range flurry as well. Who knows? A player that I've wanted to succeed at Chelsea forever, ever since he signed. I think he's a great centre-back. He does well for France. He did very well for Everton last season. If we manage to keep hold of him, and I pray that we do, I feel as though he could be one of our strongest defenders this season at Chelsea. I think Rudiger last season was the standout defender. David Luiz, yes, he's the only player who actually played with Frank Lampard who's still in the Chelsea team. He's experienced. He's a leader in the dressing room. I still expect Rudiger and David Luiz to have the number 1 spots at the start of next season, I predict. But Kurt Zouma could well be jumping into that starting 11 for me. Now, I said I was going to do 5 players. That's what the title of this video is, and that's what I wanted it to be, but I realised I've missed out 2 very obvious ones. The first one that isn't as obvious as Callum Hudson-Odoi, which will finish on Callum Hudson-Odoi, Andreas Christensen. Yes, there's going to be pressure because of how successful Frank was as a player. All of the players that go out there and play for him are going to want to aim and strive for that level of success every time they step out on the pitch. But in the same sentence and in the same world, I kind of feel like that will be a very calming thing for a lot of Chelsea players. It's like everybody is playing on the same side. I think with Sarri, many players have come out and said that he's very difficult to understand. He's very aggressive in the way he delivers his messaging. Sometimes with a player that struggles with that kind of confidence, it's not an easy way to build that player. And I think Christensen has been a player who has probably struggled with confidence. He's come into the team, he's come out of the team. He lost his place here, he lost his place there. And I think if you can just be nurtured a little bit, and that all comes down to being in the dressing room, being on the training pitch, having the support of your backing of your manager, I feel as though Christensen can finally fulfill his potential under Frank Lampard. And then, of course, it's the main one that everybody is hoping is going to sign that new contract. Callum Hudson-Odoi, he's not going to Bayern Munich. They can just leave Bayern, okay? Leave. Yes, Robben and Ribery have retired. I feel sorry for you. A little bit. Prefer Dortmund, just saying. He's going to come back from injury, hopefully, a lot quicker than people anticipated when he first got injured. We missed him towards the end of last season. He is going to be very exciting to watch under Frank Lampard. He's going to break into the first team this season. And quite frankly, I started the video talking about Eden Hazard. I feel as though there are so many positives. I mean, today we've mentioned 7 players, 5 of which we've given a really strong case for, and we've given honourable mentions to Christensen and Hudson-Odoi, but I think whether it was Lampard or Allegri or even Arsene Wenger, I think Callum Hudson-Odoi would have had a very, very bright future at Chelsea. But I think those 5 in particular, the ones we've mentioned today, are probably the 5 that are going to have the biggest push under Frank Lampard. Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section down below. But if there's one that you think in particular is going to have a massive impact, then be sure to let me know. Probably should have mentioned Ethan Ampadu as well. I wanted to narrow it down slightly today without just talking about everybody, because I think it's a big lift for the entire football club, not just for individuals. And I just wanted to say a big thank you for all of the support here on the George Benson Football Channel. The previous video has done nearly 10,000 views, which, considering we don't even have 2,500 subscribers yet, is a pretty good ratio. I wish my main channel could do the same. But yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.